Oh man. Okay. And so then like all of a sudden that's actually in a way a really good like representation of even back then, like you said, you played the record company the same demo, the talent was equal, but now all of a sudden you've got some buzz. And I think maybe the way that that looks has changed, but the type of scenario it is hasn't really changed in the music industry. You could be you could have the most talented demo they've ever heard, but all of a sudden when you got buzz is now when they're, unfortunately that's how it is.
It's actually intensified.
Yeah, oh, I bet. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because think about it, man. This is a self-preservation business. Nobody's going to put their shit on the line for you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people who can find talent. There's a lot of people who knows talent when they hear it, but do they want to sacrifice? Do they want to put their job on the line?
Right.
Why would you put your job on the line when you can just find somebody who's done all the work already? Somebody who's done all the heavy lifting already. And I feel like if you can go into the situation understanding that, you won't hate it. You won't, because that bitterness, that the fear of like the big bad record label, the way that the record label is so stigmatized. There's nothing wrong with doing a record deal, man.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with signing a bad deal. And you can't look to them for fairness. This isn't fair. It's not a fair business. You have to know. You have to take in as much information as possible. And if you don't, that's fine too. You just learn through trial and error. But as long as you understand that, then it's okay. Because you got to embrace the L's, man. The L's are great, man. Yep. You got to take losses. That's how you learn.
Definitely. And if you're never failing, it means you're not trying anything new and you're not growing.
That's it. So that's what I tell my son. My son's an artist and a producer. I tell him, make some mistakes, make them, get them out of the way early.
Yes.
Because once you become wise, then you'll be able to keep those to a minimum. And Absolutely. That's life. That's what life is about.
Well, let me get your take on this. That's a good, it's similar to how sometimes with artists that I work with, I work with independent artists who take their music seriously. They want to grow their business and they have like solid music, but when it comes to putting the marketing hat on, they don't really know what to do. Mm-hmm. And like with any business, not just music, like when you're rolling out a new business or a new product, like you're going to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. Nobody does that and bats 1,000 every time. Mark Cuban does not start a new business and make zero mistakes. Like mm-hmm. what happens when you're trying new things. But a lot of artists, when they're going through this marketing experiment, they're trying to figure out how to market their music. They're doing it on the fly with new music. Mm-hmm. And rather than saying, all right, I've got 5 songs in my back pocket and new music is not the problem. I have new music. I have plenty of music. The problem is I can't figure out how to get people to listen to my music. And what I try to get across to some artists is like, well, instead of just throwing shit out all the time and like hoping for the best, like, why don't we work with some of the music you have that's already available? And if we're going to make mistakes either way, let's make them with songs that are already out and about so that we don't bat 1,000 here. But when it is time to release something new, we've made the mistakes. We know what we're doing. We know generally how we're going to market it. And now we're not on the fly. Oh, here's a new song. Oh, shit. It's been 3 Fridays. I guess I need a new song for some reason. Here you go. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when they think like that, I think that and that's a cool way to think. You just have to understand when it's time for you to focus on the consistency of your music releasing. Mm-hmm. Because before that step, you don't want to skip steps. So before that steps, there's a build to get to that step.
Right.
You'll know when you're at that step, when people are expecting your music. That's when you focus on consistency, but you have to build some sort of base first. And music is a very unique thing, man. You can't really compare it to anything else that's being marketed on planet Earth.
Yep.
It's a different kind of drug. And the kids that are really winning are the most unique thinking kids, the ones that don't look outside of themselves for every single thing. The better understanding that you have of self and of your music, and of your base, the better you'll understand how to speak to that base. Everything is just about speaking to the people who are there. I always use this analogy. Imagine you're standing in a room, a small room with a small stage, and you got a small group of people there who could be anywhere else in the world.
Yep.
But they got out of their bed to come stand there and watch you. That means something. A lot of people take that for granted because they're looking at where they see themselves at the top of the mountain. They're not and it makes them take for granted everything on the way. That's the beautiful part. So, and J. Cole told me this, you always focus on the group of people who are standing in front of you. You do not look outside of that. You don't think about the people who aren't there yet. That's literally like walking out of that room into a bigger room with nobody there.
Because it's a bigger room.
Yes.
Right.
If you leave that bigger room and come back to the small room again, those people won't be there.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate those people. Because if you speak to them, and as long as you deliver every time you promise something, you deliver the quality of music that you promised them.
Right.
Think about McDonald's. Think about all of these companies who they're not selling Big Macs because of quality. People are paying, number one, because they're delivering what they promised. They're promising a fat, nasty burger that's going to give you indigestion. You know that you're going to get indigestion, but you go pay for the convenience because you can probably give them $5 to $10. You're going to get change back.
Yeah.
Probably late for work. You want to get something real quick. You don't have to get out your car. You can go to the drive-thru. You're paying for convenience. And McDonald's is $1 billion company because they provide that. Now, if you go to Morton Steakhouse or something like that, then you're going to expect a different kind of quality. They're also very successful because they provide that quality. They don't look at McDonald's. McDonald's don't look at them.
Right.
Each company is very, very successful because they understand who they are. You know what I mean? So Morton's is not looking at McDonald's like, damn, man, I should get some little burgers. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're not looking at Morton's going, damn, we should add steak to the menu because they know that's not what they do.
Right.
And they don't need to. The second they start fucking around with the formula is when they fall off. That's the beginning of the end.
Right. So
you don't have to look outside of yourself. You know, like kids like XXXTentacion and all these kids like NBA Young, but bro, they don't think about the shit that everybody's talking about. They don't.
Yep.
Because it's not really important because there's no set way to do it. The key is to find your way.
Exactly.
Advise you based off of their experiences.
Yep.
And what they're telling you is true. But what you have to do is take in that information and figure out how you apply that information to your own unique journey. Well, think about it, Elliot. You go into a store, you see products on the top shelf. That means it's the leading product. And then you see a whole bunch of shit just like it on the shelves under it. Mm-hmm. And those companies make less, but they still, I guess, considered successful.
Yeah.
What do you want to be? Do you want to be the top shelf, or do you want to be the shit that's making a living off of just copying everything that you see? Right. Think about all of the classic albums that we've seen in history. Think about The Chronic. Think about Aquemini. None of these albums that went down in history as anything special have ever been anything like their counterparts, anything like their contemporaries. It's always been something different, something that's not the camouflage. Right. So when people tell artists anecdotal things like, yo, you gotta pay attention to what's out because you got to make something that's current for the time. Yo, bro, classics are not current. Right. Classics are forever. You know what I mean? You get out there and you mimic something and you decide to be the camouflage, then how you gonna cut through the noise? You got to figure out a way to be new, be first, to be new. You know what I mean? But then on the flip side to that, there's a lot of very, very successful people who just look at what's out there, mimic it, and just keep doing that. Yep. It just depends on what you want from it. Yep. You know?